He's back. He's bad. He's mad. You gotta love that scroll across the screen before the game even begins. In fact, after you spin up the disc, you get an awesome opening sequence that just oozes Godzilla, showcasing some of the characters in the game. I love it. It pumps you up, and truthfully, I wish there were more of these moments sprinkled around. Godzilla Battle Legends, knocked down to simply Godzilla in North America, is a one-on-one fighting game released on the TurboGrafx Super CD in 1993. Obviously, it is based on the title character as well as various monsters from the films. In fact, Godzilla himself changes appearance slightly as you progress to reflect changes from the movies, which is a really nice touch. Let's talk about normal game first. Here we have 3 difficulty levels to choose from, and then are flung immediately into a stage select. Now, the first bummer of this game, you can only play as Godzilla in one-player mode. In Versus mode, you can choose from numerous monsters. In fact, the manual provides 8 pages of moves for them, so they're programmed in for use there, but not for here. Anyway, the King of Monsters battles through 6 different fights, along with the ability to choose any path along the way, which is nice, mixing things up in subsequent plays. You are then taken to the fight screen, where you simply beat the hell out of your opponent, knocking down their strength meter until it runs out. Oh yeah, and it's a 1 knockout win. Godzilla has very basic movement, including a left and right direction, ducking, blocking high and low, etc. With button 1, you can jump, which is interesting for a fighting game, and with button 2, you can attack. The combination of attacks is quite varied, ranging from short punches and kicks to throws and even bites. Yummy! You also have a special attack meter which depletes with each use and slowly replenishes itself. You have fire radiation, hyper radiation rays, a tail swoop attack, and more. It will take a little time to learn all of the combinations and perfect some of these moves. Now, all of this happens at a relatively slow pace. Luckily, the timer is off in one-player mode. But you also have 2 hulking beasts slamming around, so it kind of makes sense. While the combat isn't bad, it can feel clunky at times. It is definitely not as refined or smooth as in other fighting games. But I can't say the controls were unresponsive or delayed, as everything worked pretty well. The computer opponent does not pull any punches, especially in the higher difficulties. You really need to find a couple of spam attacks, such as the headbutt dash, which worked well for me, to help you gain the upper hand. Although a couple of flying enemies might throw a monkey wrench into those plans. The movement is pretty smooth, although Godzilla often won't turn around very well, especially if you're in the middle of an attack cycle. Oh, come on! The special attacks are pretty cool. I particularly like the fire radiation, as you can change the direction of it. It is powerful, but the enemies are pretty good at blocking it. When you defeat an enemy, you receive bonus points for the clear, as well as for how much of your life remains, and how quickly you won the battle. Is Godzilla happy about this bonus, or is he upset about it? Anyway, you are then taken to another selection screen, and now move on. Now, these bonus points and your total score are important. Making high-scoring attacks is key. You see, when you get to the 6th and final battle, there are numerous selections to make. You basically need to buy in the right to fight the other 5 baddies. Super X2 is the only one guaranteed to be available. You need tens of thousands of points to unlock these other guys, and wow, it's unbelievably hard. You basically need flawless victories to even get close. I tried hard and was able to unlock a couple, but I doubt the rest will ever be within my reach. Now let's focus a bit on Versus mode, a simple 2-player affair. Here you will find a bunch of customizing options for the match, including power levels, time, location, and even music. Very cool. As mentioned before, and this is the best part, you have various monsters to select from. As you defeat each beast in one-player mode, the game automatically unlocks them for use in Versus mode. Sans Biollante, who sits this one out. This gives you an incentive to play through the one-player campaign in order to unlock all of the monsters for you and a friend, adding a tiny bit of replay value. The Versus mode is really fun, and each monster has a ton of moves to memorize. In fact, I'd say this mode really shines and gives Godzilla that extra needed push to make it a recommend. Plus, it's pretty fun tearing your friends apart. Yeah! I get way too much pleasure out of that. The graphics on Godzilla are very pleasing, for the most part. While a couple are a bit static, most of the backgrounds look sharp, with multi-layers, lots of color, and even small details present, such as other battles going on in the far background. The detail on the various beasts is also nice, and they're quite large, looking very close to their film counterparts with some decent overall animation. The sound effects work pretty well with various slams, punches, and screeches. You can really feel the blows, although they are a tad scratchy. But it's all quite varied from beast to beast, and even somewhat cheesy at times, just like you'd expect. The music isn't showcase worthy, but it is pretty good overall, creating a nice atmosphere. As I mentioned, the controls are pretty sharp, even if things feel a bit clunky at times. You definitely want to play the Versus mode and use it to practice moves, as simple button mashing will not work in this game. The loading times are also very unobtrusive and quite fast. If you lose a battle, you are brought to a stop or continue screen. You can continue where you left off. That's cool. And as many times as you want. However, it removes 5,000 points from your score. Obviously, this makes it much more difficult to get the points you need for unlocking those final battles. Sadly, the quiz bonus games from the PC Engine version are missing, which gave you extra bonus points, helping to beef up your score. Thanks. There are not many one-on-one fighters on the American TurboGrafx system, and Godzilla isn't really that bad. It isn't easy to master at times, feels a bit clunky and slow, and the lack of being able to play as any monster in one-player mode really knocks it down a bit. But I think Godzilla fans will find a lot of wonderful detail packed in, and fighting fans might get some real fun, especially in two-player mode, out of chewing up their friends. Yeah! That's... Man, what's wrong with me? Godzilla isn't a perfect fighting game by any means, but it has a pretty solid presentation with some cool effects, sounds, and layout. It also has a really good two-player mode with many moves and characters to choose from. Give it a shot. I think you'll enjoy it a bit. And hey, if your friend says, you know what, bite me, well, that's something you can do.